And we go on to last Friday night's drop in deadly tornadoes in Oklahoma that claimed the lives of 3 seasoned storm chasers, proving that experts that study twisters for a living aren't even safe.
Visibility on this road is very, very low.
Most of the jaw-dropping video of this week's tornadoes were taken by storm chasers. This was recorded by a storm chaser from Australia. But moments later, the twister was chasing him. Watch as he gets rear-ended by a tractor trailer that gets toppled by the tornado's winds. He was not hurt. A Weather Channel team whose truck flipped in a tornado also escaped without serious injury. But the deaths of veteran tornado scientist Tim Samaras, his son Paul, and researcher Carl Young near El Reno, Oklahoma, has sparked soul-searching. Val Castor is one of Samaras's fellow storm chasers.
Knew what he was doing, and he knew how to stay safe. And so that's why I think that he probably got surprised by the turn on this tornado.
Castor and others we spoke with says it's now common to see dozens of amateur storm chasers racing down highways or tornado tourists pulled to the side of the road. Many are inspired in part by the 1996 movie Twister.
And they think, I want to do that, you know, it looks fun, it looks exciting, it's dangerous, and, you know, people want to do that kind of thing. Will the death of these 3 storm chasers make people think twice about going out there? Absolutely, I think it will, until the next storm comes, I guess.
Storm chaser Scott Roberts is our guest via Skype in Hayesville, Kansas. Scott has been chasing tornadoes for nearly 33 years. Scott, thank you so much for taking some time with us. I'm going to start with a basic, very obvious question. When a tornado develops in your area, why on earth do you run toward it and not hide from it?
You know, it's hard for me to be in a house or a building and not be able to see what's happening. I don't know that I could take cover, to be honest. It's something about how I'm wired, and I'm not sure what it is.
It really is amazing. You know, I grew up in Tornado Alley in Arkansas, and I've seen my share of tornadoes, but I don't have the need to follow them or be up close to them. What are you trying? I mean, is your interest just a fascination, a hobby, or do you have a scientific interest here?
I am not a researcher. I do this more for, I guess you would call it a hobby, but it's also to inform people like you who are in cover that they need to be. You know, we've had a lot of advances in the warning technology system in the last few years, and some of that comes from the fact that we have people out there able to see that, okay, this tornado's taking a right turn, for instance, and so now the south side of town instead of the north side of town are at risk.
You know what, I read in some of the research now that storm chasers, when they go out to find these tornadoes, that there's almost a traffic jam. Have you seen that there's this growing population of storm chasers?
Yes, I have. And it depends a lot sometimes on the day of the week. It's kind of funny, those of us who do it quite frequently, you know, we see each other every day of the week, but on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, it seems like if there's a big storm somewhere in the plains, one of those times that we're going to probably see traffic jams, and it affects how those of us who do it all the time, how we do what we do. I mean, I try to avoid the traffic jams as much as I can.
It would seem to me that it would raise the danger level. Of course, it was so tragic to hear of the deaths of Paul and Tim Samaras and Carl Young, 3 very experienced storm chasers. How did that affect you when you heard about it?
I'm still kind of dealing with the shock. I have to be honest, I don't really know them that well, but I had run into Tim and Paul about 2 weeks earlier, and they're people that they are the epitome of safe chasers, I guess is the best way to put it, or they were, and it was substantial to me, but yet hard to put words to, as you can probably imagine. I can't imagine what it's like for my friends in the chasing community who were really close to them.
Indeed, indeed. Does it give you pause, perhaps cause you to reconsider what you do as a storm chaser?
I already am a storm chaser who works a little further out from the middle of the storms. I was close to the Moore tornado storm, or the Moore, Oklahoma storm on May 20th, and that was probably more of a mistake in that I was trying to pick up somebody that was going to be my navigator that day, and if I hadn't have been going to pick up John, I think I probably would have still played that one 2 or 3 miles away. And so I don't think it has changed anything for me, but yet I haven't been in the field since to know.
Have you ever had a near miss, a close call where you were almost injured or perhaps even your life was put in danger?
When I first started chasing, I was on a rural highway in western Kansas and came up over the crest of a hill just as a small tornado developed, and it crossed the road right in probably a quarter mile in front of me. I would guess that's probably the closest I've felt to true risk, and that was 6 or 7 years ago now. So
You know,
it,
help me out because it's still. I'm trying to determine why you storm chasers do what you do. I mean, really, what do you get out of it? What is the thrill here? Because you could be killed.
that's hard to say. I used to be an EMT. I was in emergency management for a while. I guess there's a little bit of adrenaline junkie back there sometimes, but I like to think that what's really driving me is the desire to warn people and pass on information. The fact that I shoot video and may get paid for that later, that's a side benefit, I guess. It makes the hobby break even. But if that didn't exist, I think I would still do it.
How do you determine where you go? Because the truth is, tornadoes form sometimes spontaneously and without prediction, which is, why storm chasers are needed. But how do you decide which road you're going to take, what direction you're going to go?
Well, generally, you say without prediction, and that's probably a bit of a misnomer. We knew that somewhere in the Oklahoma City area was going to have a problem on Friday. The reason there were a lot of chasers initially in El Reno is because that's a good staging point for anything that happens around there. There's a lot of truck stops, places to eat, places that have got good Wi-Fi data, all sorts of things like that. And so it's a very good place for people to meet and then go out from. And that's usually what happens in that area. That day, I had decided to stay southwest of the metro near Newcastle, a little bit to the south of the Moore tornado track, and I really didn't think that particular storm was going to be the storm of the day. There was one developing to the southwest of it that I really thought was going to take a couple more hours to get there. And it turned out I was wrong, but I don't know that I would have played things much different because once you get into that urbanized area, it's so much harder to maneuver.
Indeed. Well, you be careful out there.
Okay.
And thank you so much for coming
You
on and
bet.
sharing your story. And we'd like to thank you for joining us on this Tuesday. We'll be right back here, same time, same place on Arise America. I'm Debbie Turner Bell. See you tomorrow.